Surreal. It's been an awesome week. I mean, it really has. And people are like, "You got fired, and it's an awesome week." And say, I would trade everything else that's happened this week for a job any day of my life. I mean, last Monday was one of the toughest days I've ever had, but it was one of the more rewarding ones. I mean, going to that meeting, as a parent or as a coach, you understand if you have kids, you're always disciplining them, you're always holding them accountable, you're always pushing them, and you really don't know that they love you until they'll show you or tell you. And Monday, when I went in and told them that this would be my last week, the emotions in that room told me everything I needed to know, and it was worth it all. These kids that I loved so much, I knew loved me back. And the hardest part was one of my own sons was in the room. I had already told my family, but it was different telling them with the family than it was telling the team as teammates. And when the teammates around you are breaking down, it's hard to watch my son. But in the same token, it was so gratifying to know where they stood with me and my relationship with them, and that just meant the world to me. And this week, my family, it was just God. It was great as far as my 90-year-old parents were already scheduled to go to the games, and they hadn't been on a plane since the tournament 2 years ago when we lost in the championship. My two sisters were going to help my parents, and my daughter's a senior at Gonzaga on the crew team, and they had spring break training, and she was in San Diego, and the coach let her come from there. So I had all four of my own kids there and my wife. So the amount of my family, knowing where my family stood, knowing where who my friends are, and the coaches, and it just made it a very memorable week that I wouldn't trade for anything. And I was telling somebody earlier today, like one of the best. I got a lot of videos, but one of the best was Mark Few's wife Marcy sent me a video of Mark and my nephew lives in Spokane, and my nephew and his boys agonizing and screaming at the TV and coaching the last 30 seconds of our game on Saturday night. I mean, and that just was an epitome of my week.
I talked to Jaden yesterday, and he said they wanted to fight for you guys, that they weren't happy with the way the decision came down, especially before the Big West tournament. Did you feel that in the embrace with the guys afterwards, that they had an extra chip on their shoulder for you?
I did, and that was one of the reasons why I asked them not to do it. At that point, I didn't want it to be about me. But this team, it wasn't that simple. It was, so after I told them, I said, guys, we're still going to go win this tournament. We got work to do now. I planned on watching film and shooting now. What do you guys want to do? And they said, give me a half an hour. Or give us some time to talk. And about a half an hour later, they texted me and said, Coach, we want to watch film. And we went in to watch film, and defensively, we had to make some adjustments to win. We were just getting lit up too much to go win 3 games in a row defensively. So the first defensive clip that I show on last Monday, I said, now look, guys, this kind of play right here is going to get a coach fired. And the room just lit up and laughed, and it was like, from there on, it was, it was just a great bond, and it was just, the relationship grew so much on Monday between the coaches and the players that again, I wouldn't trade that experience for anything.
Coach, have you heard from people around the country about your situation since Monday? Some support coming your way?
Yeah. My phone's malfunctioning right now. I swear I've got all of them, most of them answered, but it still says there's 200 and some text messages I can't find. So I had our tech guy, but look at it today. They're still trying to figure it out. But it's been awesome. I mean, I'm not saying it to brag. I'm not saying it for any reason that I'm a lucky guy. I've got a lot of support, and I feel like, again, I don't feel like anything happened in my life that it was meant to be.
We've seen it at companies, we've seen it in sports, people let go and then come back. Is there any chance that you could be back here next season, depending on how this tournament goes?
I mean, I was told somebody, that's kind of like your girlfriend breaking up for you and going out and going, I can't find anybody else. So you maybe you're not as ugly as I think you are. But I got a hefty house payment next month with no money coming in. I'm not saying no to anything, but that's really not my call. And from my end, it would have to be my family's call, my coaching staff's call, my players' call. It'd be really selfish of me to make that decision on just me, because that's what hurt the most on Monday is how many other people it affects. It's not a job where you get let go and it's just your family. I mean, it affects a lot of families and a lot of people's lives. And I would it would have to be a unanimous from everybody. And I just don't. And again, they made it clear and this program is unbelievable. I've had 17 years here and the tradition here and everything. I understand, and that's what I went in Monday to tell them. I get it. I was just surprised on the timing, but I had told them if we couldn't turn it around at the tournament, that I was going to resign after the tournament. But the only thing we disagreed on is that they wanted to do it last Monday, and I wanted to wait till afterwards. But I guess my voice worked okay this week, so hopefully I can find another place that'll want it.
You still want to coach?
I really want to coach. I mean, it's rejuvenized me. Will I get to? I don't know. I mean, that's again, and people have asked me that question today. And the only reason why I know the answer is because I've had a lot of time this week to reflect. But I wouldn't be fair to even entertain it if I'm asking these kids every day to stay in the moment. And if I get out of the moment, then that's really fair to them. This is a story I think that is a little long, but really important to the week. Is that on Saturday we had an emotional week, and I was really worried. The Irvine game took a lot out of them, both physically and mentally. And I'm like, God, we're just one game away, and I just don't know if we have anything in the tank. So I made a decision before films on Saturday morning of the championship game to go out, think out of the box a little bit and try to get them excited again about what I knew, what they were about to happen if they won. So I said, before films start, guys, I want to tell you these next 24 hours are going to be a whirlwind. So we need to talk about this now. We're going to celebrate as long as we can here and then get back on the bus. And we're going to go, we're going to stay as a family and come to my house for Selection Sunday. And you can bring your girlfriends or whoever is in the bunker with you, whoever has got us this far. I want them to be with us and at my house. And I got about that far and I broke down. I just couldn't finish, and I couldn't get any more words out. And all of a sudden the kids just started erupting. They're clapping. We got you, coach. We're good. We know we're good. Just worry about this game, So we watched films, and after films was over, I asked the captains, I said, does anybody have anything to say? I said, Jadon Jones, you've been, you were in this championship game 2 years ago when we lost by 1. What do you tell these guys? Give them any advice, for tonight? And Jadon said to the team, he said, the number one thing is just stay in the moment. He said the moment's not too big as long as that's the only thing you're worried about. If you start worrying about other things, that's when it gets too big. There's not enough room in your mind to worry about anything but what's in the moment. And that just hit me like a ton. And every game I have, a ritual I do on a board right before they go out. We go through their expectations of the game, the goals of their personnel, everything. And in the bottom right-hand corner of the board, I always put something for them to concentrate on for that day, that game or that day. Maybe it's rebound like a champion or sureness or toughness or whatever. And I put stay in the moment. And I said to him, a good parent always learns from their kids, and a good coach always learns from their players. And Jadon, when you put stay in the moment this afternoon, it really hit home to me. I said, guys, when for all the stuff this week, we always talk about being play with emotion, not being emotional. I said, was I emotional this week? And they said, when you're today in films. And I said, yeah, that was the only time, right? He said, yeah. And I said, what was I talking about? And they said, Selection Sunday. And I said, exactly. I was talking about tomorrow. And I said, and I screwed up, okay? And I got emotional because I wasn't in the moment. You go out today, you miss a shot, it's out. It's the moment's over. Stay in the moment, like Jadon said. And I really believe that was a key to that game because we did not play that well. We were frustrated. And in games past, when that would happen, guys would go off on their own and try to do too much and gamble or try to take a too hard a shot. And I just, that's the kind of week I had. I'm still was learning from these guys that I love, and it was just a special bond.
With all that's going on, how would you describe your preparation for Arizona? What's been the challenge to get ready for this game?
Well, we haven't done any yet. I mean, today we always call these mental Mondays. We don't do a lot besides try to get ourselves mentally ready. We talked about them. We didn't watch any film. They lifted weights. We talked about them. We remained undefeated in my whole tenure at Long Beach State. I never lost in our yearly wiffle ball game. We won 5-2 today. And that was really important to me. I said, your heads are getting too big, so we're going to bring them down a little bit. And we were able to back that up, coaches and managers versus the players. And then they shot for 30 minutes. But tomorrow, we're gonna try to practice here before we go, and we really need to lock in. We know. Another interesting side note is Tommy Lloyd was another long story. I hope you guys can edit all this, but I got a million of them. But when my last run in not entering, but the last run I had, in the NCAA tournament was 25 years ago at Gonzaga, and I always say that's the biggest regret in my tenure because I didn't understand how precious it is or how hard it is to go. I was my second year as a head coach, and I thought it was going to be easy like that. And now, like this week, I mean, I know, and our players, I've made sure they know this is the accomplishment and to be able to enjoy the experience because it's really hard to get here. But after that run, I took the Minnesota job, and I had made 2 or 3 promises from walk-ons or director of basketball operations, and one to a graduate assistant who my mom and his mom were friends, and to his junior college coach, a guy named Jeff Reinland at Walla Walla Community College. And he said, I got this great kid who's finishing up playing overseas, and he needs to get a graduate assistant spot. And I promised that before I left to Tommy Lloyd, now the Arizona coach. So, Mark, of course, I hope Mark get the job. He's like, whatever, that's fine. I think he kind of forgot about it. So about 2 weeks after I get back to Minnesota, he calls me, he goes, we're talking about how everything's going at both places. And he says, hey, the graduate, I think you do promise that one guy, the Tommy guy, is it a graduate assistant? What job is he? He's just hanging around here. And I said, yeah, graduate assistant. He goes, okay, I'll take care of him. And obviously Tommy becomes one of the greatest minds in the game and a great coach. And I know, because I root for, I watch every game I can for Arizona and Gonzaga. We had the thread going last night of the former coaches and making fun of each other, and I'm sure we'll have dinner tomorrow night together. But when I lost on Monday, he said, and I said, you got a new contract, you got nothing to worry about. He goes, well, I'll give you. I'm buying the Bud Light every time I see if that's any consolation. I go, I don't think that's going to even it out for getting you in the business, but it's a start.
Is there a lesson you just hope to show your players here? Is there a takeaway, a coaching, teaching moment, just to persevere and getting that news last week and to just kind of keep going?
Well, I hope so. I mean, if somebody asked me, what do you want to be known for in your 17 years here? And I just want to be known that I did it the right way. I mean, there's so many shortcuts in this business. There's so much pressure to take shortcuts, and I feel like on and off the court, these young men, I've hopefully given them an example to do it the right way. And this was a week where I had an opportunity to take the high road or not, and hopefully I've taken the high road because I think. Criticism towards the administration is not fair. I mean, there's standards here, and we weren't meeting them, and they could have not let me coach. And I'm really grateful that they gave me the opportunity to have this week. It would have been safer for them to just part ways, and they didn't. They let me coach this week, and they've been respectful, and People are like, well, where are they? I said, well, they're being respectful, but I told the players, today, we're all going to be on the same plane tomorrow, and it's their plane, and we're privileged to be on that plane, and we need to understand that. So, hopefully, I always, and when I recruit young men, I always tell their parents or AAU coaches or whoever, I promise you, if you give me a young man 4 years later, I'll give you a grown man back, and hopefully, I'm doing that to the end here.
Yeah, Coach, I know in the beginning of the season you talked about alpha dogs and finding those alpha dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me, now fast forwarding to today, who are those alpha dogs and that's led to the success today?
Well, I think we alpha dog by committee, and I think that's what they figured out. We don't have to have an alpha dog. We just got to feed the dog that's hungry and who's playing. I mean, Lucina Traore was an alpha dog on Saturday. Okay, Jadon Jones was alpha dog at hitting threes and timely threes at the end of both those games. Marcus Sahonis, when he's right and healthy, has been the biggest alpha dog on this team. He's taken the big free throws, he's taken the big shots, he's led us in scoring, and AJ George is an unsung alpha dog. So those we've written 4 guys to where we are right now, and what they've been able to realize is they don't have to be perfect, or it doesn't have to be their day every day. And I think that makes us more dangerous than a lot of these teams. If they're not on or they're not, and they started understanding that and believing that, in the last couple of weeks. But in that 5-game losing streak, Marcus had a pulled groin, and Abubakar had ankle issues, and. That's the other thing. He's going through Ramadan, and I don't want to get on too big a soapbox, but I just think the NCAA makes allowances for BYU to not play on Sundays, and I think these players that are in Ramadan should get a little bit of consideration on what time of day they have to play, and to play a game right at noon, I don't think is fair to the student athletes, and they could register that before the season even started, so people aren't just saying, well, I'm on Ramadan, but because majority of the teams don't have that issue. But I do think that I have a ton of respect for Abubakar, that he is able to do that and be MVP of that tournament during Ramadan is an unbelievable accomplishment.
As a 15 seed, do you feel like you're going to become a sentimental favorite on Thursday?
Well, you guys are all here because everybody loves the Jerry Springer show and all the drama that we have here, and everybody loves the underdog. So I would think we got double dipping going. I would think, hopefully, my Gonzaga people will be there, but I think they're in a night session. But some of them will have enough money to buy 2 of those expensive sessions, and. You hope so. I remember the run at Gonzaga vividly, that they took over the Key Arena in Seattle and made it a home game. I don't know if we'll get that kind of support because the Wildcats are a machine when it comes to support. But I think hopefully it's a story people, it's an American. It's not an American dream. It's what it is a March Madness dream. It's everybody watches this tournament for these kind of stories.
Yeah, how do you keep that noise? Like, obviously there's a game to be played, but you're gonna have a lot of these questions, knowing what the NCAA tournament is and the media sessions and having the kids focus in on the game. And there's a lot of questions about the Jerry Springer aspect.
Yeah, well, let's put it this way. This is better than the alternative. Okay, I mean, I was sitting there thinking that I was going to be on the couch today, and no office to go to or no team to see or anything. I'll take this any day over the media is, these kids have been dying to be noticed. And so we're gonna embrace this and enjoy it.
Coach, earlier you made mention that you're ready to resign, you kind of turn things around.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've also expressed your willingness to look for new challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Had we been sitting here today, resignation wasn't official, would you be ready to finish out your contract next season, or are those challenges in the back of your mind?
Well, my contract runs out next month, so and that's why it made sense for them to do this now, because they don't owe any money, and you get tied up in a school like this, can't pay out years, and that kind of thing. So, all that is over. You know, I mean, that they made a decision to do it last Monday, and I work for them, and I respect my people that I work for, and this has been an unbelievable place to raise my kids for 17 years. And when I came here, my 5-year-old was the oldest. It was like 5, 3, 2. Newborn, you know, and I just remember taking him to Krispy Kremes in Minneapolis because I was trying to bribe him with sugar, and he was pretty excited when I told him we were moving, and then all of a sudden he started tearing up, and he said, do they have court kids there? You know, can I wipe the floor? And I'm like, we're going to make court kids there. And that's my first memories of having them here to now. I've got one that's a sophomore playing for me and one that's a graduate assistant, and they're grown up adults, and I can't think of a better place to raise my kids. I say this all the time. This is a job that very few Division I coaches could do, you know, is in the fact that, you can be a good dad here because your games are local and your recruiting's local, and they're good carpool dummies to take you to recruiting with. You can be a good husband, and you can be a good coach because it's all, you know, there's the games are close, the recruiting's close, and it's all great. And I'm going to end it with saying, you know, this is just so cool. I'm blessed to be the coach at Long Beach State for another week.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Coach.